Have you ever noticed the kind of man who doesn't speak much, yet people sense his presence when he enters a room? He doesn't seek approval. He doesn't crave attention, and yet he is undeniably magnetic. This is silent attraction, the rare ability to command respect without a single word. It's not about looks, money, or status. It's about inner strength, self-discipline, and emotional control. It's about the unshakable confidence of a man who knows himself. Most men chase validation. They try to impress, they talk too much, push too hard, and wonder why no one truly respects them. But the truth? Attraction isn't about being loud. It's about being in control. Today, we're diving deep into Stoic philosophy, principles that have shaped the greatest men in history. 9 powerful habits that will transform the way people see you, and more importantly, how you see yourself. By the end of this episode, you'll know exactly how to cultivate silent confidence, not just in theory, but in practice. These aren't empty words. This is a blueprint for becoming the kind of man others admire, trust, and follow. If this message resonates with you, share it with someone who needs it. And in the comments, tell me, which habit do you struggle with the most? Let's start the conversation. 1. Master the art of presence. Some men walk into a room and everything shifts. Conversations slow, eyes glance in their direction. They haven't said a word, yet their presence is undeniable. And then there are others, talking too much, moving too fast, trying too hard. You've seen them. They demand attention, but never truly earn it. What separates these 2 types of men? Presence. Presence is an unspoken force. It's the silent gravity that makes people notice you without knowing why. It's not about arrogance or intimidation. It's about control. Control over your body, your mind, your energy. The kind of control that makes others respect you without you saying a single word. This isn't something you're born with. It's something you cultivate. And if you do it right, you'll never have to chase validation again, because the world will respond to you naturally. Think of a man who enters a room without urgency. His movements are slow, deliberate. He doesn't scan the room for approval or validation. He owns his space. He listens more than he speaks. He isn't the loudest voice, but when he talks, people lean in. This is the power of presence. It's the difference between a man who is remembered and a man who is forgotten the moment he leaves. And the best part? You don't need wealth, status, or a perfect physique to develop it. You just need awareness, discipline, and the ability to control what you project into the world. Most men fail at presence because they rush through life. They enter rooms distracted, adjusting their clothes, checking their phone, shifting their energy from one thing to another without ever truly being grounded. They lack stillness. Their mind is restless, and it shows. Presence starts with being centered. Before you can influence a room, you must first learn to influence yourself. The Stoics understood this well. Marcus Aurelius trained himself to remain unshaken by external chaos. No matter what was happening around him, his inner state remained calm. That's what made him powerful. That's why his presence was undeniable. The first thing people notice about you isn't your words, it's your body language. The way you stand, the way you move, the way you hold yourself in silence. Weak men shrink themselves. They avoid eye contact, they slouch, they fidget. Strong men do the opposite. Their posture is upright but relaxed. Their eyes are steady, not aggressive, but confident. They move with purpose. They don't fidget. Their gestures are intentional, never excessive. Every action feels controlled, like it belongs. This kind of body language signals self-respect. And self-respect is the foundation of presence. But presence isn't just about how you look. It's about how you make others feel when you're around. A man with true presence doesn't try to impress people. He makes them feel valued. He listens with full attention. He isn't waiting for his turn to speak. He's absorbing what's being said. And when he responds, he does it with thoughtfulness, not desperation. When you engage with people this way, they remember you. Not because you dominated the conversation, but because you made them feel seen. Control over your physical presence is one thing. Control over your energy is another. Most men don't understand the power of stillness. They mistake movement for progress, noise for influence. But stillness is what separates those who are truly in control from those who are merely reacting to their environment. A man with presence isn't in a hurry. He walks as if he has nowhere to be but here. His breathing is steady, his voice is measured. He doesn't let external chaos dictate his internal state. When you operate like this, people naturally see you as a leader. They sense that you are in command, not just of yourself, but of the space around you. Training your mind is just as important as training your body. A scattered mind creates scattered energy. If your thoughts are all over the place, your presence will reflect that. The solution? Learn to be still. Learn to sit in silence without needing distraction. Meditation isn't just for monks, it's for men who want control over their own minds. Deep breathing isn't just a technique, it's a tool to reset your state. The more you practice stillness, the more control you will have over how you show up in the world. Here's something you can do right now. The next time you enter a room, pause for a second before you step in. Take a deep breath. Feel your weight evenly distributed on both feet. Walk in slowly, deliberately. Observe. Don't react. Don't rush to fill silence with words. Let the energy of the space settle around you. When you speak, lower your voice slightly. Watch how people respond. You'll notice something. They will be more attentive. They will mirror your energy. They will instinctively respect you more. Why? Because true confidence is silent. It doesn't beg for attention. It doesn't need validation. It simply exists. Most men go through life unnoticed because they never claim their space. They never slow down, never train their energy, never master the power of stillness. But you can. Presence is not about status. It's not about wealth. It's about how you carry yourself when no one is watching. A man with presence doesn't enter a room hoping to be respected. He enters knowing who he is. And that, more than words, more than power, more than appearance, is what makes him impossible to ignore. 2. The power of composure. A man who loses his temper, loses his power. You've seen it before. Someone snaps under pressure, raises their voice, throws a fit. In that moment, they think they're asserting dominance. But what they're really showing is weakness. Now think of the opposite. A man who remains calm while chaos unfolds around him. He doesn't flinch. He doesn't react emotionally. He simply observes, processes, and responds with precision. That man is in control, not just of himself, but of the entire situation. Composure is power. It's what separates men who command respect from those who beg for it. It's the ability to stay grounded when everything around you is designed to shake you. When you master composure, you become unshakable. People notice, they listen, they trust you, not because you force them to, but because your energy demands it. Most men fail at composure because they let external events dictate their internal state. They let a rude comment, a stressful situation, or a minor inconvenience throw them off balance. They react without thinking. They let emotions take over. But a man of composure? He is different. He understands that the first battle is always within. If you can control your emotions, you can control your actions. And when you control your actions, you control your outcomes. This is the essence of composure. It's not about suppressing emotions, it's about mastering them. Emotions are not the enemy, they are tools. But tools must be used correctly. A man who is controlled by emotions is a slave to circumstance. A man who controls his emotions becomes the master of his destiny. The Stoics understood this well. Epictetus taught that we don't control events, only our reactions to them. A Stoic doesn't waste energy on what he cannot change. Instead, he focuses on what he can control. His thoughts, his words, his actions. That is where true power lies. Composure isn't just about handling conflict. It's about how you carry yourself every single day. It's in the way you walk into a room, the way you deal with stress, the way you respond when things don't go as planned. Life will test you. Someone will cut you off in traffic. A coworker will challenge your authority. Your patience will be pushed to the limit. How you respond defines you. Here's how you cultivate unshakable composure. First, control your breath. In any stressful situation, your breath is your anchor. Shallow, fast breathing signals panic to your brain. Slow, deep breathing signals control. Before you respond to anything, breathe. This alone will set you apart from 90% of men who react on impulse. Second, train your mind to pause. Most mistakes happen in the space between stimulus and response. Someone says something offensive, pause. Someone disrespects you, pause. This simple habit forces you to respond from a place of strength, not weakness. A well-timed pause makes people uncomfortable in the best way. It shows them they don't control you. Third, speak slowly, speak less. A man who is truly in control never rushes his words. He doesn't feel the need to prove himself. He doesn't compete for attention. Instead, he lets silence do the heavy lifting. When he does speak, every word has weight. Fourth, detach from outcomes. Most men lose their composure because they fear loss of status, loss of approval, loss of control. But a man who is truly composed understands that he is not entitled to anything outside of his own actions. He doesn't cling to things. He moves with purpose, knowing that true confidence comes from within, not from external validation. Here's something you can do today to test your composure. The next time you feel annoyed, frustrated, or provoked, don't react. Just breathe. Pause. Let the emotion pass through you like a wave. Observe it, but don't let it dictate your next move. Watch how people around you respond. They'll sense something different. They'll respect you more, even if they don't understand why. Because composure is rare. Most people react. Most people let emotions control them. But when you refuse to be shaken, when you remain calm no matter the storm, you become something more. You become the man that others look to when things get difficult. You become the one who holds the room, who sets the tone, who never lets the outside world dictate his inner world. And that is true power. 3. Silent strength. Real strength isn't loud. It doesn't need to announce itself. It doesn't seek approval. It simply exists like a mountain, unmoved by the wind, unshaken by the storm. Think of the strongest men you've met in life. They weren't the ones bragging about their achievements. They weren't the ones trying to prove their worth in every conversation. They were steady, grounded. They didn't need validation because they knew who they were. Silent strength is the rarest and most respected kind of power. It's the ability to stand firm in who you are, regardless of the chaos around you. It's not about muscles. It's not about dominance. It's about inner resilience, the kind that makes people trust you without you having to say a word. Most men confuse strength with force. They think raising their voice, flexing their status, or overpowering others makes them strong. But that's not strength. That's insecurity in disguise. True strength is restraint. It's the ability to hold your ground without needing to push others down. Imagine you're in a tense situation. Someone challenges you, testing your patience, pushing your limits. A weak man reacts. He gets defensive, argues, tries to prove himself. A strong man does the opposite. He remains calm. He lets the other person reveal their weakness through their own lack of control. And when he does respond, he does so with precision, never out of emotion, always out of intent. That's silent strength. It's knowing that you don't have to fight every battle, because you've already won by refusing to be dragged into the noise. The Stoics lived by this principle. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire, yet he was known for his quiet demeanor, his ability to stay composed under immense pressure. He believed that a man who needs to prove his power has already lost it. Strength isn't something you show, it's something you carry. Look at history's greatest warriors. The samurai, the Spartans, the greatest generals. They were not loud men. They spoke little but commanded much. Their presence alone was enough to demand respect. They trained not just their bodies but their minds. They knew that the most dangerous man is not the one who shouts, but the one who waits, observes, and strikes only when necessary. So how do you cultivate silent strength? First, control your reactions. A strong man is never easily provoked. He understands that overreacting is a form of weakness. The next time someone tests your patience, resist the urge to react. Instead, pause, take a slow breath. Let the moment settle. When you do respond, do it with weight, not emotion. Second, become reliable. Strength isn't just about handling conflict. It's about being the man people trust. Do what you say you will do. Show up on time. Be the one who keeps his word when everyone else finds an excuse. The world respects men who can be counted on. Third, train yourself to endure discomfort. A man who seeks only comfort will never be strong. The Stoics practiced voluntary hardship, fasting, exposure to the cold, pushing their limits, so that when real challenges came, they were already prepared. Strength is built in adversity. If you want to be truly strong, stop avoiding discomfort and start embracing it. Fourth, speak less, say more. The more words a man uses, the less weight they carry. Silent strength means choosing your words carefully. Speak with intention, not just to fill space. A well-timed silence can be more powerful than a speech. Let people feel the weight of your presence before they hear your voice. Finally, develop self-sufficiency. Weak men depend on the approval of others. Strong men move through life on their own terms. Learn to enjoy your own company. Learn to find fulfillment in your own progress. A man who can stand alone is a man who will always be respected. Here's something to try today. The next time you're in a conversation, resist the urge to prove yourself. Instead, listen, observe, let others talk. When you do speak, keep it direct. No over-explaining, no seeking validation. Just say what you mean and mean what you say. Watch how people respond. You'll notice something. They will start to respect your words more. They will start to respect you more. Because strength isn't about being heard, it's about being felt. Most men waste their energy trying to convince the world they are strong. But a man of silent strength doesn't need to convince anyone. He simply is. He knows that his actions, his discipline, and his presence speak louder than anything he could ever say. And that is why he is impossible to ignore. 4. Speak less, mean more. Weak men talk too much. They fill silence with empty words, hoping to impress, hoping to be heard. They over-explain, justify, ramble, never realizing that the more they speak, the less people listen. Strong men do the opposite. They speak only when necessary. Their words carry weight because they are rare, precise, and deliberate. They don't compete for attention. They don't force their opinions into every conversation. They know that silence can be more powerful than speech. Think of the last time you were in a room with a man who barely spoke, yet when he did, everyone stopped to listen. That wasn't an accident. That was mastery. That was a man who understood that true influence doesn't come from saying more. It comes from saying the right things at the right time with the right energy. Most men don't understand this. They mistake talking for communication, noise for influence. They speak first, think later. They react instead of responding. But a man with real presence, real wisdom, real power, he pauses, he listens. And when he speaks, people listen. Why? Because he chooses his words with intent. The Stoics knew this well. Epictetus taught that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, to listen twice as much as we speak. He understood that a man's value isn't measured by how much he says, but by how much his words matter. The world respects the man who can control his tongue, who can hold back when others rush in, who can observe before he judges. This is the art of speaking less, meaning more. It's about training yourself to be comfortable in silence, to listen deeply, to respond with power rather than react out of impulse. Most people fear silence. They equate it with weakness. They rush to fill every gap in a conversation, not realizing that true authority comes from the ability to let words breathe. When you can sit in silence without discomfort, you've already won. You've shown that you are in control, not just of the conversation, but of yourself. Here's how you cultivate this skill. First, pause before you speak. When someone asks you a question, don't rush to answer. Take a second. Let the weight of the moment settle. This alone will change how people perceive you. It makes you seem thoughtful, measured, precise. It shows that your words are chosen, not spilled. Second, eliminate filler words. You know, like. These weaken your message. They dilute your authority. A strong speaker doesn't use words as a crutch. He lets his silence do the work. Third, never explain more than necessary. The weak man feels the need to justify everything. The strong man states his position and lets it stand. If you always feel the need to explain yourself, ask yourself why. Is it because you doubt your own words? Is it because you fear being misunderstood? Real confidence means knowing that you don't owe an explanation for everything. Fourth, observe before responding. Most people listen just to reply. They don't actually hear what's being said. They are too busy preparing their next sentence, waiting for their turn to speak. A strong man listens differently. He listens to understand. He picks up on the details that others miss. And when he finally speaks, he does so in a way that cuts through the noise. Finally, use silence as a tool. The best negotiators, the best leaders, the most respected men in history all understood this. A well-placed silence is more powerful than 1,000 words. When you hold back, when you allow space between words, people lean in. They listen more closely. They feel the weight of what you say because they know you don't speak just to fill the air. Here's something to try today. The next time you're in a conversation, resist the urge to speak first. Just listen. Let others reveal themselves. Watch how people react to silence. Then, when you do speak, lower your voice slightly. Speak slower. Say only what is necessary. Observe how the energy in the room shifts. Most men waste their breath trying to prove themselves, but the man who masters his words masters his world. When you train yourself to speak less but mean more, people will start to respect your words. They will start to respect you. Because a man who speaks with purpose doesn't need to demand attention. He commands it. 5. Dress with intent. Before you speak, before you move, before anyone hears your name, your presence is already judged. It's not fair, but it's reality. People decide who you are within seconds. And what's the first thing they notice? How you present yourself. Some men understand this. They walk into a room and without saying a word, they command respect. Their clothes are simple, well-fitted, intentional. They aren't flashy. They aren't loud, but they carry themselves like men who know exactly who they are. Then there are others, men who dress without thought. Baggy, mismatched clothes, dirty sneakers, wrinkled shirts. They think it doesn't matter. They think real men don't care about fashion. And yet these same men wonder why they're ignored, why they don't get the respect they feel they deserve. Dressing well isn't about impressing others. It's about self-respect. It's about moving through the world with the confidence of a man who takes himself seriously. You don't need expensive brands. You don't need designer suits, but you do need intent. Think about a warrior preparing for battle. He doesn't put on his armor just to look good. He does it because it changes how he moves, how he feels, how he commands his environment. Your clothing is no different. It's the armor you wear every day. And when you dress with purpose, you carry yourself differently. Your posture improves, your presence sharpens. People sense something about you, something they can't quite name, but they respect it. The Stoics understood this. Marcus Aurelius, despite being an emperor, dressed with intentional simplicity. He didn't wear gold to prove his status. He wore what reflected his discipline. He understood that a man's worth is not in excess, but in purpose. Everything should serve a function. Your clothing should do the same. So how do you dress with intent? First, focus on fit. Most men wear clothes that are too loose or too tight. Both signal a lack of self-awareness. A well-fitted outfit doesn't mean tight, it means tailored to your body. Even a simple t-shirt and jeans look powerful when they fit correctly. Second, keep it simple. Look at the men who exude power in silence. Their wardrobes aren't cluttered. They stick to neutral colors: black, navy, gray, white. These colors don't scream for attention. They command it. Loud prints, oversized logos, flashy accessories, these are the marks of a man trying too hard. True confidence is understated. Third, pay attention to details. Your shoes tell a story. Are they polished, well kept, or do they look like an afterthought? Your watch, does it reflect intention, or is it oversized and desperate for attention? Even the way you roll your sleeves or adjust your collar, these details separate men who are intentional from those who are careless. Fourth, grooming matters. Your clothes mean nothing if you look like you just rolled out of bed. Keep your hair in check. Maintain a clean shave or well-groomed beard. Take care of your skin. These aren't vanity, they're discipline. They show that you respect yourself enough to maintain the body you've been given. Fifth, own your style, but refine it. Some men hide behind trends, constantly chasing what's new. Others cling to a single look for decades, refusing to adapt. Neither approach is strong. A man with style understands what works for him and refines it over time. He doesn't dress like a teenager in his 40s, nor does he age himself before his time. He evolves, but with purpose. Imagine this. You walk into a room wearing a perfectly fitted black suit. No flashy accessories, no unnecessary details. Just clean lines, precision, and intent. People don't just see your clothing, they feel your presence. Now imagine walking into that same room wearing a wrinkled polo and sneakers that have seen better days. The difference isn't just external, it's in how you carry yourself. One man moves with certainty, the other with hesitation. This is why dressing well matters. Not because of vanity, not because of trends, but because how you present yourself dictates how you see yourself, and how you see yourself dictates how the world responds to you. Here's what you can do today. Look at your wardrobe. Strip it down to essentials. Get rid of anything that doesn't fit or feel intentional. Invest in quality over quantity. Stand in front of a mirror and ask yourself, does this represent the man I want to be? If the answer is no, change it. Most men let life happen to them. They react. They go with whatever is easy, whatever is available. But a man with intent, he decides. He moves through life with precision. And when he steps into a room, he doesn't need to say a word, because his presence speaks for itself. 6. The discipline of routine. A man without discipline is a slave to his impulses. He wakes up late, checks his phone first thing, scrolls mindlessly, rushes through his morning, and wonders why his life feels out of control. He tells himself he'll work out tomorrow. He'll fix his diet next week. He'll start reading, learning, improving. Just not today. But today becomes months. Months become years. And one day he wakes up realizing he's the same man he was a decade ago. Then there's another kind of man. He doesn't let the day happen to him. He happens to the day. He wakes up early, not because he has to, but because he chooses to. He moves with purpose. He doesn't waste time checking social media. He doesn't rush. He follows a routine that keeps him sharp, focused, unshakable. While others drift through life, this man builds himself, day after day, habit after habit. The difference? Routine. Most men hate routine. They think it's restrictive, boring, limiting. But the truth? Routine is freedom. The man who masters his day masters his life. He doesn't waste time deciding what to do next because he already knows. He doesn't rely on motivation. It's irrelevant. He has discipline, and discipline doesn't ask how you feel. It just does. The Stoics understood this well. Marcus Aurelius had a structured morning routine, self-reflection, physical movement, mental preparation. He believed that the way you start your day sets the tone for everything that follows. He didn't wait for inspiration. He didn't hope for a productive day. He built it with discipline. So how do you do the same? It starts with owning your mornings. If you wake up and immediately reach for your phone, checking messages, scrolling through distractions, you've already lost. You've given control of your mind to something external. Instead, before you touch your phone, take control. Stretch, breathe deeply, hydrate, then move. Exercise, even if it's just 10 minutes. This signals to your body and mind that you are in command. Next, set a fixed wake-up time every single day, no excuses. A man who wakes up at random hours sends a message to his subconscious, I am not in control. The time doesn't have to be extreme, but it must be consistent, even on weekends, even when you don't feel like it. Then, establish a morning ritual that sharpens you. Read 10 pages of a book, journal your thoughts, meditate for 5 minutes. These habits don't take much time, but for months and years, they transform your mind. But discipline isn't just about mornings. It's about structuring your entire day with intention. Most men drift. They go to work, come home, sit on the couch, watch TV, scroll through nonsense, and repeat. A disciplined man? He schedules his time with purpose. He sets aside hours for deep work, time for training his body, moments for learning and refining his skills. He eliminates distractions. If something doesn't serve his growth, it's removed. Think about the strongest, most disciplined men in history. Military leaders, world-class athletes, high-performing entrepreneurs. What do they all have in common? Structure. They don't wake up wondering what to do next. They follow a process. Because they know that without structure, life becomes chaos. Discipline is also about how you end your day. A weak man stays up late watching meaningless videos, eating mindlessly, wasting time. A strong man shuts everything down at a set hour. He prepares for the next day before it begins. He gets quality sleep because he knows that rest is part of discipline, not an escape from it. Some will say, but I just don't have time. That's an excuse. You don't need more time. You need better priorities. How much time do you spend on social media, watching pointless content, procrastinating? The truth is, most men are busy. They're just distracted. The disciplined man doesn't allow distractions to steal his potential. If you want to take control of your life, start with today. Set a wake-up time and stick to it. Plan your day before it begins. Choose one habit that strengthens you: reading, training, journaling, learning, and commit to it daily. Hold yourself to a higher standard. Weak men rely on motivation. Strong men rely on discipline. Motivation fades. It's unpredictable. It comes and goes. But discipline, it's a system. It's predictable. It's what separates the men who achieve from those who stay the same. Most men wait for the perfect moment to start, but the perfect moment never comes. There is only now. And what you do now determines who you become. Because in the end, your routine isn't just a habit, it's your destiny. 7. A quiet sense of humor. Some men try too hard to be funny. They crack jokes constantly, desperate for approval, filling every silence with forced laughter. They want attention, but instead they lose respect. Then there's another kind of man, the one who doesn't try, but when he speaks, people listen. His humor isn't loud, it isn't forced, it's subtle, sharp, and perfectly timed. That's the man people respect. A quiet sense of humor is one of the most underrated signs of strength. It shows you don't take yourself too seriously. It signals confidence. It proves you are in control, not just of the situation, but of your emotions. The man who can laugh at life, at himself without insecurity, is a man who cannot be shaken. Most people think humor is about making others laugh. But the deepest, most powerful humor, it's about how you handle your own struggles. It's about your ability to see the absurdity of life and not be crushed by it. The Stoics understood this. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire under constant threat, yet he remained calm, steady, even amused by human nature. Seneca, one of the sharpest minds in Stoic philosophy, wrote about laughing at misfortune, not out of denial, but because he knew the alternative was letting life break you. Think about the strongest men in history. Warriors, leaders, men who faced hardship beyond imagination. They didn't survive because they were cold, emotionless machines. They survived because they had perspective. They understood that life will always be unpredictable, full of trials, full of setbacks. And if you let every challenge weigh you down, you will break. But if you can look at life's chaos with a smirk, you become untouchable. Imagine this. You're in a high-pressure situation. Work is stressful. Life is demanding, and someone throws an insult your way. A weak man reacts. He gets defensive. He argues, proving that he has been affected. But a strong man? He smirks. Maybe he throws back a single calm response. Maybe he says nothing at all. Either way, he remains unshaken. He understands that most things are not worth his energy. That's power. That's a quiet sense of humor in action. But here's where most men go wrong. They think humor means being a clown. They try too hard. They make everything a joke, seeking validation through laughter. And in doing so, they weaken themselves. True humor doesn't demand attention. It earns it. It's not about quantity. It's about quality, timing, precision. So how do you develop this? First, learn to laugh at yourself. Most men take themselves too seriously. They can't handle being wrong. They can't admit when they mess up. But the ability to laugh at your own mistakes, without self-loathing, without insecurity, shows absolute confidence. It tells the world, I am not afraid of imperfection. I own it. Second, don't force it. A powerful man doesn't chase approval through jokes. He doesn't try to entertain everyone in the room. Instead, he observes. He listens, and when he does speak, it's effortless. A single well-placed remark carries more weight than a dozen forced jokes. Third, understand the balance. Humor is a weapon. It can disarm tension, build connections, and shift energy in a room. But if used carelessly, it can also damage credibility. A man who jokes too much is not taken seriously. A man who never jokes comes across as rigid, unapproachable. The balance? Controlled humor. Know when to use it, know when to hold back. Fourth, use humor to lead, not escape. Weak men use jokes to avoid hard conversations, to deflect responsibility, to escape discomfort. But strong men use humor to lighten the load, not as a way to run, but as a way to move forward. They use humor to build trust, to ease tension, to lead with confidence. Think of someone you admire, a leader, a mentor, a friend who carries himself with quiet strength. Chances are he knows how to laugh. He knows how to make others feel comfortable, but he never tries too hard. His humor isn't about him, it's about his control over the situation. Here's something to try today. The next time life throws something frustrating your way, a bad driver, a rude comment, an unexpected problem, pause. Instead of getting angry, step back. Find the humor in it. Smirk. Let it roll off you. Because in that moment, you are proving something powerful. You are in control. Most men let the weight of life break them. They complain. They take every setback personally. They react to every insult, every challenge, as if the universe is against them. But the man with a quiet sense of humor, he moves differently. He stays light, even in the storm. And that is true strength. 8. Master emotional intelligence. Some men are ruled by their emotions. One rude comment, one unexpected setback, and they lose control. They react impulsively, anger, frustration, insecurity, all on display for the world to see. They think they are defending themselves, but in reality, they are exposing themselves. Then there are other men, the ones who remain calm under pressure. They listen before they speak. They read the energy in the room. They know how to make others feel seen and heard. They are not manipulated by emotions. They master them. That is emotional intelligence. The ability to understand, control, and use emotions as a tool, not a weakness. It is what separates the men who lead from the men who follow. It is what makes some men magnetic, while others repel attention without even realizing it. Most men lack emotional intelligence because they never train it. They are reactive, not intentional. They mistake emotional outbursts for strength and emotional detachment for control. But true emotional mastery is neither. It is awareness, balance, and power. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor of Rome, understood this deeply. He lived under constant pressure, war, betrayal, political chaos. Yet he remained calm, steady, untouchable. He wrote in his journals, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That is emotional intelligence, the ability to step outside of your immediate feelings and see the bigger picture. To recognize when an emotion is clouding your judgment and shift your focus back to what matters. So how do you develop this level of control? First, train yourself to pause. Most men react instantly. They speak before they think. They let emotions dictate their decisions. But a man with emotional intelligence knows the power of a well-placed silence. When something triggers you, pause. Let the moment settle. Breathe. Then, respond from a place of strength, not impulse. Second, observe before you act. Walk into any room and instead of focusing on yourself, start reading others. Notice their energy, their tone, their body language. The man who understands how people feel before they even say a word has the upper hand in every situation. Third, control your tone. It's not just what you say, it's how you say it. A man with emotional intelligence never raises his voice in anger. He doesn't need to. He speaks with weight, with intention. His words are chosen carefully, and because he controls his tone, people listen. Fourth, detach from outcomes. Most men get emotional because they are too attached to what they want. They expect others to react a certain way. They expect things to go as planned, and when they don't, they lose control. But the man with emotional intelligence understands that expectations create suffering. He focuses only on what he can control, his actions, his mindset, his presence. The rest, he lets go. Fifth, master the art of making others feel important. The best leaders, the most charismatic men, all have one thing in common. They make people feel valued. Not by flattery, not by fake compliments, but by genuine presence. When they talk to you, they give you their full attention. They don't interrupt. They don't look over your shoulder, waiting for someone better to talk to. And because of this, people remember them, respect them, gravitate toward them. Most men go through life emotionally blind. They don't see how their energy affects others. They don't realize that every word, every reaction, every moment of impatience changes how people perceive them. But the man who masters emotional intelligence, he becomes a force. People trust him, respect him, follow him, not because he demands it, but because his presence alone commands it. Here's something to try today. The next time someone says something that triggers you, do not react. Just pause, breathe. Let a few seconds pass before you respond. See how it shifts the energy of the conversation. Watch how people notice your control. Most men let their emotions control them, but the man who masters his emotions, masters his world. 9. Live with purpose. Some men drift through life. They wake up, go to work, come home, watch TV, scroll their phones, sleep, and repeat. No fire, no mission, just existing. They look up one day and wonder where all the years went. Then there are others, the ones who move differently. The ones who wake up every morning with clarity, direction, purpose. They know what they're building, they know why they're here. And because of that, they live with a force that is impossible to ignore. A man without purpose is like a ship without a rudder. He goes wherever the wind takes him. He follows trends, he seeks approval. He is pulled in every direction, yet arrives nowhere. But a man with purpose, he is unshakable. He moves with intent. He doesn't waste time on meaningless distractions because he knows his time is not infinite. The Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "A man's worth is measured by the things he devotes his energy to." He knew that without a mission, a man is nothing. That drifting through life, waiting for something to change, is the surest path to regret. So the question is, what are you building? What are you doing today that your future self will thank you for? Most men never ask this. They live reactively. They work jobs they hate, stay in relationships that drain them, and never take the time to ask themselves what they truly want. Not what society expects. Not what others think, but what they were meant to do. Living with purpose doesn't mean you need to change the world. It means you need to own your life. It means you don't wake up just to survive. You wake up to build something greater than yourself. Maybe that's a business. Maybe that's a family. Maybe that's mastering a craft, building a skill, becoming the strongest version of yourself. The what doesn't matter. The why does. Because when you have a reason, a real, undeniable reason, you stop making excuses. You stop procrastinating. You stop living small. Think about the greatest men in history. Leaders, warriors, inventors, thinkers. What did they all have in common? Purpose. They didn't wait for motivation. They didn't hope life would get better. They chose their mission, committed to it, and never looked back. So how do you find that kind of purpose? First, identify what drains you. If you feel lost, uninspired, stuck, it's because something in your life is pulling you in the wrong direction. Maybe it's a job that doesn't challenge you. Maybe it's people who distract you. Maybe it's your own bad habits. Cut them immediately. Second, ask yourself what excites you. Not in a shallow, entertainment-driven way, but deeply. What makes time disappear when you do it? What challenges you? What do you wake up thinking about? There's your answer. Third, simplify. Too many men waste their energy chasing 10 different things at once. The man with purpose focuses. He finds the 1 or 2 things that truly matter and devotes himself fully. Fourth, embrace discomfort. Every man with purpose will face resistance. You will doubt yourself. You will face obstacles. You will have days where quitting feels like the easy choice. But a man of purpose doesn't quit. He adapts, he learns, he keeps moving. Finally, set a standard for yourself. A weak man needs someone else to push him. A strong man holds himself accountable. Wake up at the same time every day. Train your body, train your mind, cut distractions, read, learn, move, act. Because every day that you drift is a day wasted. Here's something to do right now. Take out a notebook. Write down 3 things. 1. What is draining your energy? 2. What excites you? 3. What one thing can you commit to improving every day? Most men avoid these questions because they force you to face reality. But a man who is willing to face himself, to own his direction, to carve his own path, that is a man who cannot be stopped. Because a man with purpose doesn't wait for life to give him meaning. He creates it. Every man has a choice. He can drift through life, reacting to whatever comes his way, or he can take control, master his presence, his emotions, his discipline, and his purpose. The difference between a man who is ignored and a man who is respected isn't luck. It isn't wealth. It isn't status. It's how he carries himself. It's the silent confidence in his presence, that controls his reactions, the discipline in his habits, the clarity in his purpose. These aren't just theories. They are habits, practices that you can train, refine, and strengthen every single day. No one is born with silent strength, with unshakable composure, with effortless magnetism. These are built through action, consistency, and an unwavering commitment to being better than you were yesterday. So now, it's on you. What will you apply first? Will you master your presence? Will you refine your words? Will you structure your life with discipline? Choose one. Commit to it. Start today. The sooner you begin, the sooner you become the man you were meant to be. And now, I want to hear from you. Which lesson from this video resonated with you the most? Have you ever experienced a moment where your presence, your composure, or your discipline changed how others saw you? Share your story in the comments below, because your insight might help another man on his journey.